Hey guys, do you like anime? I sure do. I've been in this anime rabbit hole since I was 13 years old. Some of my favorites when I was first watching anime were Elfen Lied, Azumanga and Trigon. And I know what you may be asking at this very moment, viewer. Hey, this sounds a lot like an ad for Crunchyroll. Well, too bad. 'Cause it's not. But, that would be nice if, I got a sponsor from them or something. Or Funimation, which is like right in my neighborhood. So, while I haven't been getting my fix as much as I used to, I still watch the occasional series or short, like currently I'm digging Sakamoto Desu Ka and Yokai Watch. And while I would love to talk about those, I'm not quite finished digesting all of Yokai, and Sakamoto is hardly furry, but that leaves us with Buta, a TV episode-length animation about pirates, swords for hires, and most importantly, so let's slice right into this OVA and see just how furry it is. Buta was made by Telecom Animation Film, who also made anime like Orange, All Out, the rugby anime, and some of the latest Lupin the Third movies. They also made Futakoi, which is a garbage harem anime about a town full of twin girls, and four of them just so happen to fall for some average kid who goes to school in... So basically it's crap, but yeah, enough about that. Buta was produced back in 2012 as part of a program called Young Animator Training Project, where anime studios in Japan would take these younger artists and animators and get them trained up and in-betweeners until they became full-fledged keyframers, mainly through these shorts. I kind of like the animation and keyframing in Buta. It has a nice style to it. Not sure if it's all that great, but you know, it's pretty good. I mean, it's not as detailed or meticulous as I'd like it to be. It's a lot better than Stella Luna, at least. I'm not sure if that's because it was made by a much bigger studio than Stella Luna was, or if the mainstream anime look is just better looking than Stella Luna in general, but Buta definitely looks pretty darn good. Now, I mentioned the mainstream anime look, and that sort of hinders it in my opinion, so sort of. It looks nice, really. The way that furries are designed are pretty cool. There's some good action scenes, but it's not going to be the next Studio Ghibli, trust me. And the characters themselves aren't bad. Buta, our titular character, Buta, by the way, is the Japanese word for pig or pork, go figure. He's a grumpy, cynical sword for hire. I've seen him described as a samurai, but he's not a government official, so he's actually more of a ronin. He's more along the moral alignment of chaotic neutral, where he's a tad selfish and doesn't like to bother doing things like fighting or finding treasure unless there's like good money in it, even if it does mean working for pirates. Like, despite being amazing with a blade, his default mood is, doesn't concern me. Haruv. Then you have your optimistic and determined little fox boy named, you know what, hang on. I think this anime forgot to give him a name. Let's call him Kid. Kid's a good name. He's a kid, though he's not a goat. Now, Kid is more of a neutral good, leaning on lawful good, as he's bright-eyed and innocent and bushy-tailed, enough to berate Buta when he does something against the law, which is, a couple of times, not going to spoil what it is, but, he does work for pirates. The two eventually bond in a way, kind of a cliche way, but, it's there. Basically, Buta tolerating the Kid's company as he's helping him get back home or saving him from criminal pirates. And there are some interesting and fun side characters as well, like Dr. Surume, who I think is a lizard of some kind. I'm leaning on salamander. He's essentially deranged and cares a lot about mechanics and stuff. It's not the worst hobby in the world, but it might be if you're deranged. Just saying. There's also our lone female feline, credited as Guppy, but she doesn't really do much along with her dopey male companions. Other than that, it's fine. There are characters that do stuff. I didn't hear anything outstanding from the musical score either, but it was an alright music bed. I would mention voice acting in this part as well, but yeah, here's a tip. I'm not a fluent speaker of Nihongo, so I don't think I'd be the best judge on that. Let's just call it all pretty good and move on. Now, I can't help but feel like this short could really gain from becoming an actual series instead of just a short, right down to the to be continued at the end, which they don't continue. This started in 2012 and stayed there, unfortunately. You see, the structure of the story is kind of basic and feels like it could be something, you know, the start of a 26 or 13 episode series, but the fact that it doesn't go anywhere actually disappoints me a little bit. I'm not gonna cry in my sleep over it, but you could have done something with this. There could have been a lot more. Then again, this was just for training new animators and showing off some furry art in a way, so I can't be too mad over it. Speaking of furries, this is unfortunately less anthropomorphic than Stella Luna, believe it or not. I had mentioned in that previous episode that while the Aesop and general plot made Stella Luna feel like a pretty furry movie, it's practically missing here in Buta. If I had watched it as a gaggle of humans instead of furries, I'd feel just about the same about this OVA. If I had to stretch it, the furriest thing about this, outside of it being entirely cast of anthro characters, is that the pig, Buta, is deathly afraid of cats. Not the mercenary cat, no, like straight up feral cats that appear in this world alongside cats and other animals that walk on 2 legs rather than 4. I call this the Goofy Pluto dilemma, where you have 2 levels of sentience / intelligence of the same type of animal species. And if you were smart, you could even get away with this concept if you knew how to run with it and give it a good world-building excuse for why it's there. Unfortunately, Buta isn't that concerned about it, which again begs the question, why even bother? Again, I'm not entirely mad about it, it's just, why bother? But let's rein things in a little bit, let's close this up. On a technical and storytelling scale, I'd give it like a 2.5 out of 5. And on the furriness scale that I just invented in this episode, kind of forgot to do that previously, I'm gonna put this somewhere along the lines of 2 out of 5, a rating of forgettable. Can't believe I've come across 2 mediocre productions in the past 2 weeks, but, well, I guess that's the life of a critic. This has been Gregor Barazoku Reindeer on How Furry Is It? Stay tuned for more furry analysis and antler antics.